Caitlin Clark has done what no one thought possible. She walked away from the WNBA, not for Europe, not for rest, but for something much bigger. Major League Baseball. Yes, MLB, a move so bold, so unexpected. It's reshaping the very foundation of women's sports. What started as whispers has now turned into a global headline. The WNBA's biggest star just outgrew the league that tried to contain her. And the shocking part? The writing was on the wall from the very beginning. This is the story of how one woman exposed an entire billion-dollar system for what it really was, dependent on her, but never ready to respect her. When Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA in 2024, the league had a golden opportunity. They had the most electrifying athlete in women's basketball history. A player who tripled viewership, sold out arenas, and turned Middle America into a basketball nation again. But instead of protecting their star, the WNBA treated her like any other rookie. A minimum salary, no special clauses, no marketing push, no brand strategy, just a contract and a welcome aboard. Imagine that. The NBA didn't do that with LeBron James. The NFL didn't do that with Tom Brady. Those leagues built stars. The WNBA tried to box one in. They didn't understand that Caitlin Clark wasn't just a player. She was the product, the reason millions were tuning in. And when controversy hit, when the hard fouls came and social media started to turn toxic, the WNBA made its most fatal mistake yet. They didn't protect her. They monetized her pain. Every rough hit, every viral clip, every online feud, it became free marketing for the league. They let the drama build because anger and conflict drove engagement. The physical play, ignored. The public narrative that painted Clark as a villain instead of a trailblazer? Unchallenged. The WNBA sat back and let the chaos burn, because chaos meant clicks. But Caitlin noticed. She saw her league stay silent while she was targeted, while headlines twisted her into controversy. That was when she made a quiet decision. If they won't protect me, I'll protect myself. And that moment marked the beginning of the end. Then came the injury. Minor, but devastating in what it revealed. Caitlin missed a few games, and the league's ratings collapsed by almost half. One player gone, and suddenly, millions of viewers just vanished. Sponsors panicked. Broadcasters scrambled. It became undeniable. The WNBA wasn't the attraction. Caitlin Clark was. The league's explosive growth wasn't strategic genius. It wasn't better basketball. It was her, the Iowa sensation who turned women's sports into must-watch television. And as she sat on the bench, icing her leg, the realization hit her camp hard. We don't need them. They need us. Behind closed doors, her management ran the numbers. They mapped out what she was really worth. Not in salary, but in value. Billions in potential revenue. Billions in global exposure. Billions in market share expansion. And yet, she was earning the rookie minimum. So her team decided to make the league see the truth. They walked into WNBA headquarters with a single document. A chart showing how viewership nosedived the second Caitlin wasn't playing. No speech. No drama. Just proof. The message was simple. This is what we're worth. Either you pay it or we find someone who will. And the WNBA couldn't. Their collective bargaining agreement, the one that's supposed to empower players, actually trapped them. It capped salaries. It restricted endorsements. It was built for a world where women's basketball barely survived, not for a world where Caitlin Clark made it thrive. So Clark's team went global. And that's when the unexpected call came. From Major League Baseball. MLB had been searching for a way into women's sports for years, trying to expand beyond its traditional base. But they didn't need a women's baseball league. They needed Caitlin Clark, the one athlete who could bridge every demographic and every border. MLB proposed a deal unlike anything ever seen before. Clark would become the face of a global sports initiative, combining basketball exhibitions, ambassador roles, and international tours under the MLB umbrella. They'd handle the infrastructure, the sponsorships, the streaming. All she had to do was be herself. It was more than an offer. It was a revolution. From that point, everything changed. European powerhouses started calling. Spanish, French, and Greek teams wanted in. Asian streaming platforms lined up to broadcast her global tour. Sponsors that once tied themselves to the WNBA now followed Clark directly. And when the news leaked that she'd signed with MLB to spearhead the Clark Global Tour, the world went silent for a moment, then erupted. For the first time in history, a women's basketball star had outgrown her league so completely that she created her own ecosystem. The WNBA couldn't stop it. International laws, global contracts, streaming rights, none of it was under their control. And as the Clark Global Tour rolled out, fans followed. Stadiums from London to Tokyo sold out. Merchandise vanished from shelves. Every city wanted a piece of Caitlin Clark. Meanwhile, the WNBA, the same league that ignored her calls for fairness, was bleeding. Ratings tanked. Sponsors withdrew. Teams downsized. The excitement that once defined the league evaporated. Without Clark, the WNBA wasn't just struggling, it was collapsing. It's poetic, really. The league that tried to exploit her controversy became the victim of its own short-sightedness. The same system that refused to pay her worth now had to watch her become one of the highest-paid athletes in the world without them. The Indiana Fever, her team, still benefit through collaborations and co-branded international events. But the league as a whole? They're out of the picture. The player they once saw as replaceable has become irreplaceable. And that realization has every young female athlete watching closely. Caitlin Clark didn't just make a career move. She started a movement. She showed every player that loyalty to a broken system doesn't earn respect. That you can build your own empire when the old ones refuse to evolve. She proved that power doesn't come from permission, it comes from courage. In just 18 months, she exposed how outdated the WNBA structure really is. She revealed that women's sports don't need to catch up to men's sports. They just need the right leadership, the right star, and the freedom to grow without limits. Today, Caitlin Clark stands as something beyond a basketball player. She's a symbol. A living, breathing example of what happens when talent meets self-respect and vision. Her deal with MLB isn't just a contract. It's a declaration that women athletes deserve more, and they don't have to wait for anyone to give it to them. She's not just changing basketball. She's changing business. She's changing culture. And the WNBA silence says it all. They never saw this coming, and now they can't stop it. Caitlin Clark didn't destroy the WNBA. The WNBA destroyed itself. And in doing so, it created the monster it could never control. A player too big for its system, too smart for its politics,